Halifax Wanderers head into the 2025 season off the back of a very difficult year in 2024. The club took a major step in the wrong direction as they finished in 6th place in the Canadian Premier League and ultimately missing out on the CPL playoffs. And that only comes a year after in the 2023 season where the side had title aspirations, where they finished in the playoffs in 3rd place and tied for 2nd place on 42 points with the eventual Canadian Premier League champions in Forge FC. So why did it all go wrong? How did a year time they go from title contenders to not even making the playoffs? Well, it simply comes down to two reasons for me. It is their back line and goals against, as well as their away record. Halifax Wanderers, yes, on paper, in the 2024 season had an exciting backline, had a very talented backline, had a proven backline. But when you look at how they played, it did not gel, it did not mesh together at all. Yes, they had players like Dan Nimick and Kale Lowry with Julian Dunn coming in as support. You had an exciting, possibly the best fullback in the league in Zach Fernandez out wide. But it couldn't gel. It did not click together for some reason in 24 as well as it did in 23. As they finished on goals against on 43 goals in the back of the net, which is abysmal. 43 goals against put them tied for the worst in the Canadian Premier League in the 2024 season across 28 games. Which, if you compare that to 2023 where they finished in 3rd, they only allowed 32 goals. It is a massive drop-off and a massive change for this Halifax Wanderers side and back line. And of course, when you concede 43 goals, when you concede 1.5 goals per match, it is never going to be a recipe and story for success throughout a 28 game season. And it just didn't happen to click for that Halifax Wanderers side across the 2024 season, which translated to their away record, seamlessly to their away record. And Patrice Geyser needs to address their away record in the 2025 season if they expect to have any sort of success similar to what they did in 2023. As their away record was abysmal. Of course, home and away you play 14 matches. At home, they went 6 wins, 6 draws, 2 losses with a +6 goal differential, and having a 1.7 point per game. While if you look at it on the road, it was quite the opposite. Only 1 win across 14 games, drawing 3, and having 10 losses in 14 matches away from home, while having a -12 goal differential and a 0.43 point per game. It is not a story for success. That won't get you back to 3rd place. It's just not going to work out. And yes, I understand Halifax Wanderers are so far out east that they have the longest away days. They have the longest road trips. But you just have to cope. You just have to make your way through it. And Patrice Geyser will address that because he is such a good manager and will get them back to a better away record. At least better than 1 win and 3 draws in 14 matches. But they're not going in on any success or any high into the 2025 season. But they're not going on a true low. They only have 1 loss in their last 5, drawing 3 and winning 1, having 1.07 points per match in their last 5. Not picking up many points in their last 5 matches at all in the 2024 season, but it's not disappointing at the least. But this side, with that shaky back line, with that away record, they went out in the offseason and massively addressed their needs and their squad. They didn't just address it. They went out and completely blown this squad up. They blew it out of the water. They didn't just change it. They rebuilt it. They remodeled the squad and changed how they look at their club and team. And personally, for arrivals and departures and just overall offseason, Halifax Wanderers could possibly be my favorite, surely off what they did for arrivals. When you look at their departures, it is very intriguing. And for a Halifax Wanderers supporter, I could understand how you're a bit gutted, because you have lost some key names to this locker room. The likes of Daniel Nimick, who has left to Forge FC. You have Zachary Fernandez, a 23-year-old right back from Canada, who heads off to Valor FC, a side who has never made the playoffs before. And Zach Fernandez is a right back who I personally could see him in Europe in a year or two. He is very talented. But of course, then you have Aiden Daniels who's left, Jan Fillion, Kale Lowry, Riley Ferrazzo, Massimo Ferrin, who are all the big names who left Halifax Wanderers this offseason. Of course, you have others like the likes of Julian Dunn, Thomas Giraldo, Clement Baez alone landed. It was just a lot of players and mostly notable names and big names from this Halifax side and locker room and fan favorites that all got cleared out, who all got wiped out, and mostly defenders. You had Dan Nimick, Fernandez, Jan Fillion, Kale Lowry, Ferrazzo, as well as Julian Dunn. Whole back line got absolutely blown up and changed. And I'm not against it because it had to after that 2024 campaign. But they didn't just blow it up, they addressed it in the right way. And they also remodeled how they look at their club, I truly believe. As they brought in many young Canadian talents who are basically U22, as well as bringing in two more experienced Canadian Premier League veterans who aren't that old. In Thomas Méter-Giguère, the 27-year-old Canadian centre back who is arguably one of the best defenders in the league, who's going to bring a lot of experience and leadership to that poor back line from last year that is going to be remodeled around Thomas Méter-Giguère. And then in net, they brought in a new goalie, an exciting goalie, a great keeper in Ryan Yesley, who is still only 25. When you're looking at what I mean by this young 22-year-old model they've changed to, well, it simply started with Isaiah Johnston, the 23-year-old Canadian midfielder who they bring in as well. Player who was kind of already there, and Teuvo Ciccarelli, the 17, 18-year-old Canadian striker who comes in up top. But as well, you have David Makvala from the Montreal Academy who comes in at 18 years old as a right back. You have Alessandro Biello, of course, the son of Mauro Biello, who comes in, the 18-year-old Canadian on loan. A lot of excitement around him. Then you have 19-year-old Canadian center back Adam Perlman from Toronto FC. Add in Sean Rea, a 22-year-old Cam, who's trying to kickstart his football career back up again. It is a success and could really be a success for Halifax in the 2025 season. A lot of players and young talented Canadians who need to go out there in this season and prove themselves and do it very well. And when you bring players on loan, young hungry Canadians in on loan from big clubs in the MLS who are struggling in Montreal and Toronto, you bring in players who are trying to restart and re-kick their career in Isaiah Johnston, in Sean Rea, you have a lot of success that can be built off that. Hungry players on loan, hungry players who need to kickstart their career again. There is a lot of potential around this for Halifax Wanderers. And as well, they brought another player who is kind of an unknown for the league. Jason Bahambula comes from Valmiera in Latvia. He's a Congolese international. He has played for Valmiera, has 6 goals, 3 assists in 31 matches for his time for them, and could really be a game changer. He's a 23-year-old Congolese international. He could be a right winger who comes in and scores a lot of goals. And it'll be very exciting to see what he brings to the league. But I love what HFX have done in the offseason. It might very well be my favorite. And I'm going to say it will be my favorite offseason so far from any CPL club, truly based on how they've remodeled and restructured this side, and it is very exciting how well they have done it because they have a brilliant manager who could easily take them back up to the heights that they were in 2023. But looking at this squad from top to bottom, it's very intriguing. But for me, where do I predict them? Well, it's back where I had them and back where they were in 2024. 6th place. I don't think Halifax Wanderers will rise much higher. They have a young, talented squad. It's a lot of change. It's a lot of rebuild. And they need to find that chemistry. They need to find that stability. And under Patrice Geiger, I 100% believe they will. And I would honestly say, and go on the limb to say, they could easily finish in 3rd place. They could easily finish back where they were in 2023. And that would not shock me one bit. It is for me just, are they able to trust Thiago Coimbra and Teuvo Ciccarelli, 18 and 21-year-old Canadians who have played for the youth teams, to score all their goals? They're not proven CPL goal scorers to the extent of a Mulba Booley, a Brian Wright, a Warchevsky. They're just not at that level yet. And if they can score goals and score goals consistently well, they're young, exciting quality and talent up top and pace, then this HFX Wanderers side could easily elevate themselves from 6th to 3rd in my opinion. But I have them in 6th place in my CPL prediction standings, and I'd love to hear where you guys have them. Let me know your thoughts and comments on my CPL preview series. Let me know your thoughts on the CPL in general and Halifax Wanderers and where you think they might just finish. Smash that like button, drop a sub, and I'll see you guys for the next one.